Hello everyone and welcome back to another Commander Deck video. Hope you're having a great day today. Today I'll be going over my Nevinyrral Urborg Tyrant Commander Deck. See if I can get that to focus. Probably can't. Oh, there you go. He's the leader of the zombies. Let's go ahead and get into it. We've got Crypt Breaker. Discard a card. Put a 2/2 black zombie creature token. This is mainly a token deck. And you'll see that as we continue. Got Gravecrawler. I mean, why not? Champion of the Perished. Make a big creature if you bring a lot of zombies in play. Zol Asher, Lich Lord. Cast a zombie spell from your graveyard. Tainted Adversary. Undead Augur. There we go. Card draw. Relentless Dead. Wayward Servant. Get some ETB triggers, and each opponent will lose a life, and you gain a life. Corpse Knight. More ETB triggers. Except you don't gain a life, each opponent just loses one. Diregraph Colossus. Whenever you cast a zombie spell, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield tapped. And he enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each zombie card in your graveyard. Headless Rider. Whenever it or another non-token zombie you control dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. We have the Plague Belcher. Whenever another zombie you control dies, each opponent loses one life. But when he enters the battlefield, you have to put 2 -1/-1 counters on a creature you control. Death Baron. Skeletons you control and other zombies you control get +1/+1 and have death touch. Centurion of the Marked. Known as Lord of the Undead. Hello? Hello? Huh? Earth to camera. There you go. There's some graveyard return to your hand. Got Undead Gladiator. Yeah, you have those times where you don't have anything to do. Well, cycle this, draw a card, and if you got nothing else better to do, pay 2, discard a card from your hand, and return it, and cycle it again. Gleaming Overseer. Can amass 1 So that would be a zombie army creature token with a 1/1 counter on it. And then zombie tokens you control have hexproof and menace. Diregraph Captain. Other zombie creatures you control get +1/+1. He has Death Touch, and whenever another zombie you control dies, target opponent loses 1 life. Got the Lich Lord of Inks. Good way to make a zombie creature token. And you can pay 2 blue and 2 black, and target player loses X life and puts the top X cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, where X is the number of zombies you control. Master of Death. So I like him for the surveil, and you can if he's in your graveyard, you can pay 1 life and return him to your hand so you can surveil again by playing him again. Tomb Tyrant. Other zombies you control get +1/+1. And you can pay 3, tap, and sacrifice a creature, and return a zombie creature card at random from your graveyard to the battlefield. You can only activate this ability unless there are at least 3 zombie creature cards in your graveyard. Cleaver Scab. Pay 3, tap, sacrifice another zombie, create two tokens that are copies of it. Undead Warchief. Make your zombie spells cost less and buff them up. Overcharged Amalgam. So I do like some of these zombies with exploit. You can sacrifice a creature when it enters the battlefield. And this one has flash, and when it exploits a creature, you can counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. Ratadribik of Urborg. The zombies you control have vigilance. And whenever another legendary creature you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary, and it's a 2/2 black zombie, in addition to its other colors and types. Wilhelt, the Rock Cleaver. So whenever a zombie dies, if it didn't have Decayed, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice a zombie. If you do, draw a card. Ravenous Rotbelly. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice up to 3 zombies. When you sacrifice 1 or more zombies this way, each opponent sacrifices that many creatures. So I'll get rid of a couple of tokens to get rid of some creatures, if possible. God Eternal Oketra, a 3/6 double strike. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you create a 4/4 black zombie creature token with vigilance. And when it dies or is put into exile from the battlefield, you may put it into its owner's library, 3rd from the top. Sidisi, Undead Vizier. Another exploit. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature, a 4/6 Death Touch, and when it exploits a creature, basically, Demonic Tutor. Grimgrin, Corpseborn. He enters tapped and doesn't untap during your untap step. You can sacrifice another creature to untap him and put a +1/+1 counter on him. And whenever he attacks, destroy target creature defending player controls, then put a +1/+1 counter on him. So it'd be good to give him vigilance. The Scarab God. Just very good with zombies. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses X life, and you scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. And you can pay 4, exile target creature card from a graveyard, and create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. Geth, Lord of the Vault. It's a 5/5 Intimidate, and you can put an artifact or creature card with converter mana cost X from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control tapped. Then that player puts the top X cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. And finally, we have Machias, the Unhallowed. Give all non-human creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Undying. So whenever a creature with Undying dies, if it had no +1/+1 counters on it, return it to the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it under its owner's control. Whenever a human deals damage to you, destroy it. And that's it for the creatures. Just basically went and selected out some of my favorite zombies along with the ones that create tokens. We have Soul Ring, obvious. And it's not going to focus, but we all know what a Soul Ring does. Arcane Signet, Herald's Horn, make zombie spells cost 1 less, and you can look at the top card of your library. If it's a zombie, you can reveal it and put it into your hand. Underworld Connections, some card draw at the cost of 1 life. Black Market Connections, 3 things you can choose from there. Whatever you need, choose it. Monastery Siege, spells your opponent's cast that target you or a permanent you control costs 2 more to cast if you choose dragons. If you choose cons, you can draw an additional card during your draw step, then discard a card. Anointed Procession, double your tokens. So that could be, a treasure token from this or a zombie token. But it has to say create. So this says create. Necro Duality. Whenever a non-token zombie enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it. There's not a lot of legendary zombies in this deck, but if I have a legendary out, the token will just be destroyed. Grave Pact, lots of things to sacrifice a creature, so why not? Open the Graves, whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Rooftop Storm, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for zombie creature spells you cast. Necromancer's Covenant, when it comes into play, remove all creature cards in target player's graveyard from the game. Then you put a 2/2 black zombie creature token into play for each card removed. Zombies you control have lifelink. Gift of Estates. Search for some plains if you're low on lands. Painful Truce. Hopefully you can pay a white, blue, and a black to play this. Draw 3 cards and lose 3 life. Vindicate. Destroy a permanent. Diabolic Tutor, because I am out of demonic tutors. If I had one, it'd be in here. Supreme Verdict. Cleansing Nova. Patriarch's Bidding. Each player chooses a creature type, and then each player returns all creature cards of a type chosen this way from his or her graveyard to play. Austere Command. Zombie Apocalypse. Return all zombie creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped, then destroy all humans. Necrotic Hex. Each player sacrifices 6 creatures. You create 6 tapped 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. Army of the Damned. 13, you put 13 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield tapped, and it has flashback. Swords to Plowshares. Dark Ritual. An offer you can't refuse. Fool from Tomorrow. Draw X cards, then discard a card. Instant speed. Eerie Interlude. Exile any number of target creatures you control and return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So that works well with the ETB zombies, and you can just save your zombies during a wipe. Rise of the Dread Marn. Foretell is just one of my favorite mechanics. And in this one, you can create X 2/2 black zombie berserker creature tokens, or X is the number of non-token creatures that died this turn. So that would be good to foretell for 1 during a wipe. Comeuppance. Can prevent all damage that would be dealt to you and planeswalkers you control this turn by sources you don't control. If damage from a creature source is prevented this way, Comeuppance deals that much damage to that creature. If damage from a non-creature source is prevented this way, Comeuppance deals that much damage to that source's controller. So it could be a nice reversal. Return to Dust. Exile an artifact or enchantment. If you play it during your main phase, exile up to 1 other target artifact or enchantment. And that's it for the spells. For Nevinyrral and for lands, we have Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Path of Ancestry, Dromar's Cavern, Arcane Sanctum, Mirrodin's Core, Prismatic Vista, Fabled Passage, Flooded Strand, Polluted Delta, Hollowed Fountain, Godless Shrine, Watery Grave, Shattered Sanctum, Fetid Pools, Isolated Chapel, Drowned Catacomb, Temple of Enlightenment, Temple of Silence, Temple of Deceit, Caves of Koilos, Underground River, Fetid Heath, Phyrexian Tower, Unholy Grotto, Riptide Laboratory, Field of the Dead, Bojuka Bog, and there's 2 plains, 4 swamps, and 2 islands. And that's it for the Nevinyrral Urborg Tyrant Commander deck. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share this with your friends, leave a comment. You know what you would put in, what you would take out. And until the next video, you guys have a good one.